Welcome to Podcasts, where we dive deep into the stories that shape our culture. Today, we're talking about something that had fans around the world both crying and arguing, the finale of Supernatural.
After 15 seasons and 327 episodes, this show about two brothers hunting monsters finally came to an end. And, what an ending it was.
Right? I mean, this wasn't just any TV finale.
No, it wasn't. We're talking about one of the longest-running genre shows in television history. The finale pulled in about 1.4 million viewers, which is actually pretty impressive for the CW.
So let's break down what actually happened in Carry On.
Well, the episode starts with this really simple premise. Sam and Dean are just on a regular vampire hunt. Which is interesting because after defeating God himself in the previous episode, you'd think they'd go bigger.
That's actually kind of brilliant, though, isn't it?
Yeah, because it brings everything back to basics. Back to what the show was always about. Two brothers saving people, hunting things, the family business.
And then things take that turn.
Right. During this seemingly routine hunt, Dean gets fatally wounded. And it's not even some epic battle. It's just a random piece of rebar in a barn.
Which caused quite a stir among fans, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, here's a character who's literally fought God survived hell, heaven, and purgatory, and he dies from what basically amounts to a workplace accident.
You know what's interesting about the filming of this scene?
The whole thing had to be shot during COVID, which actually affected how they could film it. They couldn't have the usual crew size, the usual setups. Everything had to be stripped down.
Right. And that kind of affected the whole tone of the finale, didn't it?
Exactly. It became more intimate, more personal, which actually worked in its favor in a way.
But let's talk about that death scene because, wow.
The whole speech Dean gives to Sam, it's devastating. And you know what's fascinating? The way it mirrors the very first episode of the series.
Oh, wait, what do you mean?
Well, in the pilot, Dean shows up to get Sam from college saying their dad is missing. This time, Dean's the one leaving and telling Sam it's okay to go live his life.
Oh, that's actually really clever.
And you know what's interesting? This wasn't even the original planned ending.
Wait, what was the original ending?
Series creator Eric Kripke originally planned to end it all in season 5 with both brothers sacrificing themselves to save the world from the apocalypse.
That would have been pretty different.
Completely different. Instead, we got this ending where Dean goes to heaven and Sam lives a full life.
Which really divided fans, didn't it?
Oh, massively. Some felt it was perfect, a return to the show's roots. Others thought it was too simple, too basic for a show that had gotten so epic in scope.
And then there's the whole controversy about Castiel.
Right, the angel who had become such a huge part of the show doesn't appear in the finale at all. And this was right after his emotional confession to Dean.
That caused quite a storm on social media.
It really did. The hashtag Bury Your Gays was trending, and fans were pretty vocal about their disappointment.
But let's talk about that final montage.
Sam living his life, growing old, having a family, while Carry On Wayward Son plays one last time.
That song has become so iconic, hasn't it?
It's basically the show's third main character at this point. Kansas actually saw their streams go up by like 250% after the finale aired.
And then that final scene.
Sam finally dies of old age and meets Dean in heaven. And Dean's just there waiting on that bridge with Baby, his car.
You know what's interesting about that bridge scene?
The way it kind of brings everything full circle. It's the same bridge from the pilot episode where they started their first hunt together.
That's such a detail that really rewards longtime fans.
And you know what's fascinating? The simplicity of the ending is actually kind of a meta commentary on fan expectations.
What do you mean?
Well, after all these years of angels and demons and God and alternate universes, they just gave us a really human ending. It's saying that all that cosmic stuff wasn't really what the show was about.
It was about family.
Always was. Two brothers, a car, and the open road.
Let's talk about the viewing numbers because they're pretty interesting.
Yeah, so the finale actually saw a significant bump in viewership. About 1.4 million people tuned in, which was up 66% from the season average.
That's pretty impressive for a show in its 15th season.
And especially impressive when you consider it was airing during a pandemic.
Speaking of the pandemic, how did that affect the actual production?
Well, they had to shut down production in March 2020 with just 2 episodes left to film. When they came back, they had to follow strict protocols, smaller crews, limited contact between actors.
Must have been strange ending such a long-running show under those conditions.
Yeah, and they couldn't even have the usual wrap party or big celebration that a show like this would normally get.
But in a way, maybe that fits.
How so?
Well, the show ended the way it began. Just two brothers, no fancy bells and whistles.
That's actually a really good point.
So what's the legacy of Supernatural?
It's really changed television in a lot of ways. It showed that genre shows could have real staying power, that you could mix horror and drama and comedy and still maintain a dedicated audience for 15 years.
And the fandom aspect.
Oh, the fandom is incredible. They're still so active, even years after the finale. The conventions are still going strong. The fan fiction is still being written.
It really never ended, did it?
That's the thing about Supernatural. The show might be over, but the family really does go on.
And on that note, we'll wrap up our discussion of the Supernatural finale. Thanks for joining us where we dive deep into the stories that matter. Until next time.